in just 4 weeks?
I can answer that, Danny. No, it isn't. I haven't met a company that's done that. Certainly not the ones that I've met at the events, many events, but you're probably going to show us how to do it. So let's go ahead.
I go with Muhammad Ali, who said, impossible is nothing. You need to think about out of the box and forget about detailed requirement specification and never-ending RFPs. You rather spend the time on the implementation of the project itself instead of the preceding procurement process. Nevertheless, it's still very important to find the best partner and, of course, the best price. I'll show you in the next few minutes why it is possible to source an ERP within 4 weeks and how we went through that journey with the help of Lean Agile Procurement. Some words about the company. The SwissCasinos group consists of 4 land-based and 1 online casino, 1 restaurant, a real estate company, and the shared service center unit, all combined under the roof of the parent holding. It only operates in Switzerland, so no further activities abroad. The company itself is quite old school in terms of business agility. The first ever Agile project came from the finance department and was the implementation of a management information system and a cloud data warehouse back in 2017. In June 2018, we came to the conclusion that we had to get ourselves a new and modern ERP. The old one was very inefficient, was not future-proof, and had too much customization and hence very expensive to maintain with each update. From July through December 18, we were gathering ideas, user needs, formulate a vision, and did a very rough calculation of a possible investment. And during this period, we already excluded a lot of applications due to our high level of specification and expectations. By mid of December, the board approved the project called Shakira, which just took a name, and a rough cost estimate was approved. On December 17, we started this sourcing project, and it took only 4 weeks, excluding the Christmas holiday, to select an appropriate vendor for our future ERP. Beginning of March, we started the Agile Scrum implementation and went live on January 2020. We developed a high-level vision and had some basic requirements to the new application. We definitely didn't want any customization, respectively, and any additional programming in the application itself. The ERP had to have a cloud integration and should have an easy consolidation tool in order to consolidate 9 subsidiaries. The painless way to extract directly raw data into the SwissCasino data warehouse for further analysis was a must, as well as the integration of multiple financial dimensions. Due to the fact that we had a lot of intercompany transactions, a simple billing system across legal entities, including intercompany profit elimination, was required. Furthermore, we needed interfaces to the document management system and the highly complex transaction system of the online casino. In the end, the simplified vision was that I push the consolidation button and receive a financial report every month. In our first internal workshop on the 18th of December, we wanted to explore further why we need this initiative and set up a cross-functional evaluation and development team consisting of people from accounting, controlling, IT, and HR. Within this team, we arranged for a working agreement and assigned the different roles: Scrum Master and Product Owner and team. The sponsor of the project was also present, and together we developed a delegation board in order to sort out the competencies and responsibilities in the project. This empowerment was very important so that the team could work independently and deliver the results. This day was all about filling the gaps of the lean agile procurement canvas. 2 days later, we were able to tell the story from vision over strategic goals to the bottom line. The before-mentioned canvas was a perfect summary for that. We started with the backbone of the user story map and developed high-level user stories according to the respective personas and prioritized the stories accordingly. During the next 4 weeks, the team defined further the user stories in detail. We even got a plan of the needs that might be nice to have in case of a budget overrun. All participants signed up in becoming part of the pilot teams and had full transparency all the time. But please don't underestimate the workload during this period because it's very hard for the team as they have 2 jobs then. By end of January, after creating a short list of suppliers, a draft of an agile contract, and the preparation of the big room event, we welcomed 3 competitors. Each of the suppliers had to bring along the right people that would also implement the project. So not only salespeople or account manager were present. We placed ourselves with the cross-functional team in the center of the room and started to explain to the vendors what Agile meant to us and what should be accomplished during these 2 days. The goal was to select one supplier and have the Agile contract ready to sign, including all the pricing and the scope of the project itself. We worked out together with each vendor all aspects of the offer: joint estimation, timing, goal setting, even KPIs, how we measure that we are on track. In separate breakout sessions, we discussed with each supplier individually the co-creation of the Agile contract, including the collaboration and pricing model. Even though we had an Agile contract, we were able to limit the total amount of expenses. From that ceiling limit, we agreed with all competitors to have a 50-50 risk share. Meanwhile, the rest of the vendors team, mainly the solution architects, had to run a proof of concept with regard to our personas and the prioritized user stories. We were even able to co-create together with all providers together and Microsoft, which is the solution provider, the best license model for us, though a big benefit on having all vendors together. Instead of having a back and forth with each supplier during a conventional RFP, we could resolve risks and open questions immediately during these 2 days. And the good part was that we could even share it with all the suppliers at the same time so that everybody was on the same page. So no hidden hints or helps for any of the suppliers, but full transparency all the time. The 3 competitors had to demo their results for everybody. So in the beginning of the session, this was quite awkward for them, but they learned quite fast that they could also benefit from each other and have an own learning curve. This was quite interesting for us as well, and most of the demonstrations were different from vendor to vendor, and our team could decide which solution would fit best to their respective user story. This was really, really amazing and a very good experience for all parties involved. In the end of the 2 days, we made a team decision based on pricing, proof of concept of the user stories, elaboration of the Agile contract, and interpersonal feelings and credibility of the vendors team. Within these 4 weeks, we had chosen one vendor for the implementation of our new ERP and agreed upon an Agile contract. Furthermore, and that was a little bit surprising, we chose from the second vendor an expert to assist our product owner. To be honest, if I had the chance, I would have chosen key people from every vendor because they all had good people. Anyway, this may be a solution for a future project. All 3 competitors combined developed a license model for us. In the end, we even had major savings within this multi-bidding environment, going from 300,000 to 900,000 US dollar, and well under the first cost estimation. In a survey conducted after the big room event, all participants, and I mean it, all participants were very pleased with the process of the lean agile procurement and stated that they saved time too to compare to traditional RFPs. And yes, of course, we had some challenges. Not everything was according to the plan. The capacity of the team was a big challenge. The member had normal day-to-day work during this very intense period. The lack of agile mentality within the vendors was very surprising, and next time we would educate them before the big event. And the creation of an agile contract, well, that took some doing, not an easy task, but we did it. Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Danny, and congratulations. I see Mirko with his picture there holding up that award that you and your team in SwissCasinos rightfully won. You did the impossible. Congratulations. Well done.
Thanks.
One of the impossibles that we're going to have, of course, with so many fantastic examples, is staying on track. And I know that Frederic and Alejandro after him will turbocharge through their excellent examples. Let's move straight on to Frederic and AirFrance-KLM Cargo as the next business case study. Frederic, over to you.
Thank you, John. I think you can see my slide now. So good day all of you. I'm happy to share this evening my own experience of Lean Agile procurement. I prepared this presentation and the Lean Agile procurement by itself with Sophie from the company Good. First of all, I will introduce a bit my domain. I think you all know about AirFrance-KLM, but maybe not all activities. Our incomes rely on three pillars. The first one is the passenger operations, the part you all experience traveling with Air France, KLM, Transavia or HOP. The second one is the maintenance domain, which takes care of our aircraft, but also for 150 customers that trust us. On this part, we can say that we are Boeing, Airbus and Meier competitors. And the third pillar is the cargo, I mean the freight transportation. You have to know that we have only 6 freighters because 90% of the freight is traveling under you, under the passengers. And I am responsible for the IT of this domain, which combines air transportation, but a lot of logistics with trucks, customs, documentation, and partner communication. Well, how did I come to Lean Agile procurement? We can say it's a question of beer. As Mirko told me, he first thought about LAP, drinking a beer with a friend in Switzerland. It went well, he received prizes, and maybe around champagne more than beer, by the way. Then I had to face a hard challenge, and then my Agile coach from Good told me about LAP. We ran it successfully, and we finally ended in drinking beer. So as you see, LAP is not only Agile in the process to go faster and closer to the needs, but Lean Agile procurement is Agile also in having individuals and interaction of our processes and tools. It really creates links between humans. What was my challenge? Cargo business wanted to completely renew its truck management to make it more efficient. So I had to develop a completely new application. Unfortunately, the team in charge of it was not really efficient and was still in storming mode. So I thought it was better to start with a fresh one. In addition, Air France wanted to improve its sourcing model by working with only one partner in a managed delivery center model located remotely. It was new to me, and I didn't know how to handle this, neither what to expect. A big change to operate, no idea how to proceed, what to ask. So Good said to me, we have the perfect solution with the Lean Agile procurement. So first of all, we started to build the core team and gather different objectives. So as you see, Personally, my managing team was always busy with sourcing external people, and I also wanted to add new people in the team and to improve the innovation culture. On the left side, the architect wanting to ensure that the new product will integrate smoothly in the cargo information system. The tall guy was the business representative. He said, I have a major business goal to stake. If we bring in a new team now, is this goal endangered? So you see many objectives. And usually during the request for proposal process, IT is making the requirement alone with its own ideas, even if it's interviews. This process allows to have all the views and bring all the stakeholders in the project. The fact to create a core team helped a lot to make the change accepted, even if at the end it was clear for everyone that the choice was under my responsibility. Everybody could give his opinion. So first good point for the lab, for the LAP, it helps to manage the change. So how did we run it? Starting end of January, we started by defining the true north, meaning the major target of this project. For us, it was deliver a new critical IT application for cargo truck management within a tight schedule of 8 months. We explained the target and the process to the providers in 2 sessions. We asked them to come 2 days. 1 month later, who is part of the future technical team and the commercial representative able to decide. The 4 companies accepted to play the game. Then, end of February, we performed 2 days of technical hackathon to see how the teams could work with the product owner, with the IMOs, architects, and which performance they could demonstrate in development, test, or innovative ideas. We also discussed the commercial logistic evolution with the commercial representative. And to embark the teams in cargo world at maximum, we located the hackathon in the KLM cargo warehouse in Amsterdam shipment. All the discussion and presentation were done in the same room all together. It created ideas and competition between technicals. For commercial, it was not fully easy at the beginning, but it showed a bit the company behavior. But step by step, the proposals were more open. Only the financial part was managed face to face, one by one. After 2 intense days, at AirFrance-KLM, we had the same target. So we came finally to the same choice of the partner between the PO, the IMO, etc. And we understood what they could propose. So the second point for me is that it helps to clarify your need and possible solution. A small rex on what we did. Instead of reading 4 books of about 80 pages of proposals, we discussed 2 days each proposal and improved them. And as my colleague Eric, he said, instead of eliminating the less promising offers, we ended up improving each proposal and choosing the best one. That is for me the third good point. The proposal improved during the session better than with a simple request for proposal. Moreover, we worked together, AirFrance-KLM and the partners, during 2 hard days. And finally, we chose the team involving the technical guys and girls. So the team building was in fact really already done. Dominic, or IMO, said Agile Procurement is an innovative, outstanding partnership accelerator to identify and select your right team with the right people, having the best fitting competencies and team spirit. It took less than 2 months getting our complete IT team. Something new is born with LAP. That is for me the 4th good point. It speeds up the team building. So it's good to run it, but what about after? A good experience by itself. And then 1 year later, as you can see on the picture, the team was still there 1 year later and happy, and the true north was reached by delivering the minimal viable product in due date 8 months later. The managed delivery center model was better accepted and deployed, and as a consequence, Cargo was about 1 year ahead of other Air France IT team in deploying this model. We were looking for a partner and not only a provider. The proof was made during the COVID crisis. Our partner accepted to reduce its activity and to be ready to restart because he knows and he understands our business issue. we had to choose a second partner for on-site development. And we chose to run a second Lean Agile procurement. It was a good experience too, and we had the same result. And to finish, I like this slide because it shows what is Lean Agile procurement about. Human interaction and not only contract. It creates stronger links than the contract that are still needed, by the way. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Frederic. A real live example of the power of teamwork and the framework and the process. Anybody on the line is starting to think, well, yeah, that's okay. I've just seen 2 IT projects now. There are non-IT projects in the diversity of what we're showing. So hang on. And if you're thinking, well, these are only people that have used only the Lean Agile procurement methodology, then hang on for the next presentation. This is awesome from a company that only does Agile procurement, not someone that's just discovered it and experimenting with it. We're going to move to Zalando, and we're going to move to Alejandro. Alejandro, the podium is yours.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone. Yes, so my name is Alejandro. I'm from the company called Zalando. Maybe for those of you who don't know, Zalando is Europe's leading online fashion platform. It was a startup founded in 2008 in the middle of the financial crisis. It is one of Germany's first unicorns, and we have had the last 12 years of exponential growth. So you can imagine a company that was born in the new economy area that already works agile in the business. The challenge for us was that it's expected that procurement brings this agility, right? So the speed and the enablement of growth. So for today, I brought 2 examples. I think one is very similar to what have been proposed, basically the implementation of a procure-to-pay solution that we fully drove on an agile methodology, basically running the design to deploy in sprints, where you have a daily stand-ups, you have a Kanban methodology to track issues and resolutions, and basically the experience at the end was that you have a faster cycle time from design to go live. We increased the user satisfaction that we measure on, let's say, on a periodic time from 45% net promoter score to 65 net promoter score, which is in, let's say, the retail world, a very high number. But the most important part of what we believe as a really added value is that we managed to drive a maverick spend from 100%, because in the past there was no procure-to-pay solution, to less than 20% in 12 months. And I think that was the added value of bringing a P2P solution that was very user-centric, and we were able to really bring the spend and the maverick spend down to a manageable size. And of course, we used the opportunity to increase our electronic invoicing to above 50% in around 6 months. This means this has a huge impact on the finance processes, right? So this was one use case on how to run an agile event or an agile project in, let's say, a classic software implementation. But I brought a second use case, and actually it was on a negotiations. I think in other companies, they call them turbo negotiation, savings accelerator, negotiation factory, whatever you want to call it. But if you organize certain negotiations in a certain format, you could run it also in an agile way. What does it mean exactly? First of all, you can focus on specific commodities, on specific contracts, and build swarm teams from different buyers, from different commodities, that they can focus on one or few negotiations in a very reduced amount of time. What this brings is that you maximize the outcome, but also minimizing the effort and also minimizing the cycle time. This is probably not something you will run for every negotiation, but it's something that in case where you have a huge amount of time pressure to maximize outcome, and you don't have the time to run a 3, 4, 5 month tendering process, negotiating with different suppliers. But when you really want to maximize it, as I said, you can organize it in an agile way. You can organize a Kanban methodology to organize the input and output of every ask. You can have the daily stand-up way to align the negotiation rounds within the swarm team. But there is a precondition. The precondition, of course, that you have pre-qualified suppliers and that you have compatible goods and services so that you can really be fast in the decision making. For us, one of the outcomes, the result is that we really reduce the tender to contract process from 4 months to, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks when we run the event. But really maximizing outcome by minimizing a cycle time. And the outcome was also an increase on the savings impact from what we expected originally. And this was a successful event. What are the lessons learned? On my side, I can tell you, coming from a company that Agile is part of the company culture, and having a past in procurement, in manufacturing, and in different type of organization, is that Agile, it is a methodology, but most of all, Agile is a mindset. It's a way of working. It's how to organize yourself. It's the flexibility, the adaptability, the customer obsession in having results that satisfy your internal or external customer. I would say the second lesson learned is what I said. It's about increasing also customer satisfaction. In this case, could be an internal stakeholder, could be users of a B2B solution, could be also suppliers. Agile, it is possible in procurement. As I think today you will see different examples. So there are examples in different areas of procurement where Agile is possible. But my most, I would say, the lessons that I want to bring to you is that start small. You don't have to have the ERP implementation or the P2P implemented negotiation. It could be also smaller projects, smaller tools that you want to implement. And it's better to start with small and test it and have your team go through the experience, but start now, start very soon. And one thing I can tell you about the teams is, and I guess my colleagues in the panel will also confirm this, once you run one Agile event, it starts becoming interesting for the team because they see actually the effect of how fast and how efficient you can become in having a higher output, and they will start asking for more projects that they can run in an Agile methodology because also the teams become closer with each other. And these are my lessons to learn out of Agile projects. And back to you, John.
Oh, boom, thank you very much, Alejandro. That's very high, powerful stuff, much appreciated. And I think the audience is getting a flavor of the depth and the breadth and the range. We, of course, started in Switzerland. We went, Marco, can you see the video?
Good morning, everybody from Australia. I'm not sure what time it is there with you in Switzerland, but it is fantastic to be with you today, I can say today, and this opportunity that you've presented for us to tell you a little bit about how Lean Agile Procurement is changing industries and changing lives. So I'm Marcus Ward, business agility coach from Sydney, and I'm joined today by
Henriette Kamfer,
to tell you a little bit about how Lean Agile Procurement is changing industries and lives. So we'll jump straight into it. So Henriette, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thanks Marcus for the intro. I'm in Adelaide, Australia, and I've been in procurement for more than 20 years. And the past 3 years I've been in a procurement role in the APA group. But it's really over the past 12 months that I've experienced a shift happening inside me, basically, on how best to do procurement. And that's why we are here today, Marcus.
Brilliant. So APA group, tell us a little bit about APA as a company.
So currently we have across APA and our asset owner close to 2.2 million gas customers, and we perform more than 12 million meter reads annually. However, we are using old 20th century equipment and we are manually reading our meters. The energy market in Australia has shifted with the introduction of electricity smart meters, and this has now reshaped our thinking about what our customers really need. So Marcus, we have a very ambitious vision. Our vision is a digital meter future where our customers can monitor and control their gas consumption, and where they will see the gas industry as an integral part of their energy decisions. And all of this we want to achieve by 2030.
Wow. So what I'm hearing there, big company, lots of complexity in terms of size and shape, but bold, ambitious vision as well.
That's right.
Just like to ask you, how agile is APA to deal with this level of change and digital transformation?
Well, Marcus, if there was a scale from 1 to 10, we would be less than 1, because we had no experience with LAP at all. Our traditional approach has just been we spend enormous amount of effort and resources creating these detailed specifications, and then base it on our past experience. We do not look at the future, and we do not consult with suppliers at all. And little thought is really given at what should it be like. And that's just the way it's always been.
So, from what I'm hearing here, you've got this big vision, so that's what you want to aim for. You've got your why and your reason to change. But so this journey, when we talk about changing industries, how have you got to this point then, where you are changing the industry?
Yeah, Marcus. So our existing contracts, the expiry of our existing contracts are looming, and we are faced with this complex challenge with the market changing and reshaping. And we just realized that our traditional approach for procurement has been fit for purpose. It's fine for other parts of our organization, but in terms of this complex problem that we had, we really needed to make a shift and needed to make a change in how we are doing it. And LAP afforded us that opportunity to do something different, to try something different so that we can get a different result and we can move away from same old, same old.
Awesome. And what have your learnings been along the way?
So look, with our limited approach, we appointed our Lean Agile coaches, which is where you came in, Marcus, and you've been guiding us all along our process. And we started by establishing our cross-functional sourcing team, and our main focus has been on culture first. And with that, we started with a team agreement, and we immediately reduced all the heavy documentation that we used to have in the past to a project on a page. And we focused on what was needed today and tomorrow and 2030. So we made that shift towards the future. We then posed our problem to the supply market to determine what is the optimal model for us to move away from our old equipment. And Marcus, we actually asked our suppliers to tell us why they should be invited to attend. And we focused on the cultural fit of the suppliers, and only best fit suppliers were shortlisted and invited. To date, we've done one big room event, and with the final days planned for February. And it really turned out very good practice to apply Agile practices. In our big room, we had sprints that we did, and we had several iterations on the product spec, check on the roadmaps and on the pricing estimates. And this allowed us for fast feedback, and we actually managed to get our first estimates after over 4 hours of supplier engagements. Now we can work together with our suppliers, and we can do some more iterations and improve it together until it's good enough, and then we can, in the end, choose the best of it.
Yeah, incredible story. So moving from months to hours for estimates.
That's right.
And how have you found it, the process overall?
Well, my journey started about a year ago, in the beginning of 2020, with the LAP training. And I think my biggest learning has been the realization that my role as a procurement person has to change. I need to become a procurement enabler. It means that I have to create an opportunity between the suppliers and my internal stakeholders to work together to solve this complex problem. And the real shift started within me when I realized that my role is more that of an orchestra conductor, bringing all the elements together, the suppliers and the stakeholders, and for it to form a wonderful melody out of the process. Marcus and I do recall, and similar with you, you should recall this as well, that it was really hard for us as a buyers team to shift and to define our why, our true north, and to set out clearly our goals and key resolve areas. We also identified personas and prioritized our needs, and we eagerly pasted all of our thoughts on stickies on our lean canvas. And all of this definitely was a first, not only for me, but for my stakeholders and the buyers team. But we persisted, we helped each other along the way. And as we got into this regular rhythm, our focus really started to move away from specifications towards what the end customer really wants. And as a team, we are now pioneering the future. And our team has actually become the main asset for our organization as opposed to just the process. And it's really nice to hear if our project manager says he doesn't want to go back to his day job, or the feedback that we received from our metering supervisor has been that he thoroughly enjoyed the process. And Marcus, between you and me, people seldom enjoy the procurement process. And as procurement in APA, we are really blazing a trail for the first time ever with our big room workshops. Having suppliers in the same room with us and co-creating proposals is really new. When I first mentioned this to my peers and to legals, they thought it's impossible to have, not only to have suppliers in one room, but to move fast through a process of concluding a contract that normally would take months. It's really, truly a unique opportunity to have the suppliers and the buyers team in one room, and you just move that whole bottleneck of information sharing out of the way. But fundamentally, what has changed for us is really the shift in the culture. It's now one of trust and cooperation. It's based on partnership and shared values. Yes, we are still focusing on the hard facts like quality and costs, but the behavior of the suppliers in a real life situation has been really important to us, and it's shown us cultural fit. And the consequence of it is really very visible. It's impacted on APA's market reputation and the loyalty of our partners, because they are already seeing us as a key customer. But it's also clearly visible on the motivation and the performance of each team member of our buyers team. So for me, I actually have a vision of the future where the procurement team and the function can really become a strategic enabler to APA, to keep us relevant and for us to stay in business. And it's really truly a rare opportunity that we have now to influence the gas industry in Australia with our partners.
Awesome.
What your learnings, Marcus, as a coach?
It's been an incredible journey for me, and I've got to say, my greatest reward is being here today with you and seeing your journey from when we first started the initiative and those early workshops through to now, and just watching how you have grown and developed along the way. So to be here today interviewing you is incredible, and I'm just so excited to see what's next in terms of your personal journey, but also for APA as well. And being a good Agile coach, I run regular retrospectives on myself, and 3 big learns that I picked up. First one was meeting people where they're at. I had the luxury of working with some very progressive organisations with forward ways of thinking, and for me it was a great adventure to work with APA and go back to basics and encourage this alignment between all parties, and getting that why clear up front has really helped the team to accelerate as we got into the later stages, and also avoid some of those difficult conversations around conflicting opinions. Secondly, feedback. Again,